So good to have you, Toby. Now let's start with one fact about Fonterra. 86 million kilometers your fleet have done. It's like 200 times going up to the moon, back to the Earth. Now tell us a bit more about your business and what are you transporting on that fleet?
Yeah, look, thanks, Thomas. Great to be here. Look, that gives you sort of some indication of the scale of our business. So, look, Fonterra is a farmer-owned dairy cooperative. We're the largest business in New Zealand. We export great dairy products to over 100 countries around the world. And that requires a pretty large and complex manufacturing and supply chain footprint in order to be able to support that process. So, look, we made the decision to transform our business. And we're going to do that through a move to S4 through RISE with SAP. I think that is a critical decision for us. We want to move away from the legacy ways of working, our customized landscape. We don't see this as just a technology upgrade. You know, we see this as a great opportunity to reset back to standard, simplify how we work, put in place, consistent ways of working across our business. It's a key platform and an enabler for us. It's a big part of our strategic ambition. That said, we're still relatively early in the journey. We've got 2 manufacturing sites live now and our US market. We're running old and new in parallel, and that creates its own challenges as well. But, we're an impatient organization, and so the focus now is how do we start to show value? We don't want to wait till the very end of the transformation. So how do we modernize and, deliver value whilst we're going through the transformation?
I mean, you just talked about that you have still a lot of factories and rollouts to go, right? That means what we have just seen, with this assistant, that must be interesting for you, no?
Yeah, look, I think, we made the deliberate choice in moving to RISE, going plant to plant, rolling it out, keeping a clean core. It's been very important for us, putting the extensions and the innovation up on BTP. That principle around clean core, that's been absolutely critical, heavily supported by the CEO, by the board. I think what that's given us is a level of flexibility. It stopped us from backsliding, trying to recreate some of those old ways of working and complexity. And it's going to put us in a really great position from a foundation in terms of AI. And we obviously know that, AI is only as good as the foundation that you build it on, Thomas.
Yeah, and look, I'm spending a lot of time with you and your business, and the way you embrace AI, and I think we talk about this in a second, but the way really also you bring everybody in one room, your business, your IT, the process owner, to discuss the value of AI, having SAP with you as well and the partners, it's just great. It's really great. So now how you make sure, Toby, that AI really lands in Fonterra?
So, there was a lot of options. The challenge wasn't a lack of ideas. There were plenty of use cases. What we needed to do was, working with SAP, try and figure out where the real value was. And to be honest, find out what was really ready to deploy. And so working to do that, we were able to, identify three apps. I think we've moved from practical theory into actually delivery, which is great to see. And now we're live with Cash App. We've got a maintenance order recommendation in there, and we've got transportation, conversational planning for transportation management. And what's really great is these are now showing up in the flow of work. So it's actually real. Obviously, we've got to complete the deployment as we go through the year to really scale the benefit from it.
Yeah, and I think let's go quickly back to the process, Toby, because it's really something I want to share with the audience, because I consider this as best in class, we came together in this room. We had a whiteboard. We looked at your business processes as they run today. We looked at how SAP is supporting those business processes, right? And then we looked at the embedded AI cases SAP has already, and we looked where in the different business processes we could bring them in and unlock value. And then beyond that, not only looking at the embedded AI cases, we discussed with your finance business, take the cash application. I remember very much this conversation, right? About the invoice matching, about the hours of training we have with the cash application. And I know that also now we're looking at Rapid 1.5 now to accelerate even this learnings of the application. So really, if there's one thing I really want to share with the audience is when we talk about AI, when we talk about value, it's an IT discussion, it's a business discussion, and it's a discussion where we really have to look at the processes and at the problem statement. Because once you talk about the problem statement, it's really easier to find the right AI opportunities to unlock the value. Now, talking about this co-building, we went in a forward deployed engineering approach with you, together with our product teams. Maybe you can also share with the audience a bit your experience about that, Toby.
I think it was surprisingly good, Thomas, is what I would say. I'm quite impressed by the traction, the speed, the focus on outcome. Look, it was really good to see all parts of SAP. So we had the product team, we had the services team, we had the industries team, we had my team, but we also had business come together. And where we landed up in terms of our first cab off the rank, as it were, was around services procurement. So probably not the most glamorous area to start, perhaps, but certainly an area that is highly visible with a number of pain points. There is significant value for us to be able to be addressed. The reality is we get thousands of these services invoices every month. The way that we work today, not really very well set up in terms of the information, the detail we need downstream. So what was the other issue is we just don't have a history of creating service entry sheets. So net new work, getting people to adopt a new way of working was, to be honest, is still proving a bit of a challenge. So what was great to see is what we've built and what we co-built with SAP is a really intuitive way of doing it. Effectively, just click and drag into Joule. It has a look at the unstructured data. It creates the service entry sheet that we need. It gives you the detail that you want, and then the user can click it. So, look, that's exciting. That's it's a small step forward, but I think what's really important is the pattern. And so what we've demonstrated now is, where there are high volume, high intensity use case areas, that's where we can go. We've proved the theory works, and so we're already looking at other areas, process order, planning, and operations assistant. I think that'll be a big step forward for us. Sales order processing is another big area that we'll be moving into as well. But I think moving away from individual use cases, obviously what's exciting and what Christian was referring to yesterday is the ability to, see how you can actually create a connected, autonomous enterprise as you build these agentic workflows. And that's obviously an exciting future for us all.
No, and I love the vision of Fonterra, Toby, and we share this with you very often. And what I really like about you and your organization is that you see SAP as one of your strategic technology provider, but also as one of your transformation partners. I think that's really what is changing in the world of AI, that we are here to help our customers like you to transform and unlock the value. Now, talking about value, Toby, AI, building use cases, bringing them into production, I don't say it's an easy step, it's a step to take by getting the users really to embrace it and to scale, adopt and scale. So how do you think about now to get AI embedded in your user adoption journey?
I think the first place for us to start is obviously to truly embed what we've got, get it working consistently, start getting the value. As I said, we're still relatively early in the journey. We've got 22 more manufacturing sites in multiple markets to go. The reality is technologies, at this scale, technology is not actually the challenge. We've demonstrated that we can run New Zealand's largest organization on standard SAP with some custom development up in BTP. The reality is it's a change management challenge now. How do you get users to adopt and embed a new way of working? How do you get that actually showing up day-to-day operationally, which is where the value comes from? And so as I look ahead, I can see tools like WalkMe are going to be really important for us, because the reality is, if we don't embed those new ways of working and scale it, that's ultimately where we're going to get the value from the transformation, and that's what's going to be key at the end.
Yeah, and you're right. It's all about change management once you have your use cases in your systems to get them scaled into your community. And I think WalkMe is a good segue to our next customer as well. Toby, again, big thank you and big thanks for traveling all the way here to Madrid. Enjoy a bit the city. And again, happy to have you back next year. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.